not much of a tale, but I'm sort of attached to it.
Howdy folks, it's brainstorm time again, and I'd like to share with you another story. Since I've got the story time scarf on, I'd like to share with you another story about the time I went walking in the woods with my nephew. Um, Appropriate setting. Anyway, once upon a time, when I was young, me and my family used to go visit our relatives, and we would have a good time, depending on what we were doing. That was our vacation. We went on Saturday, we would go visit a relative somewhere. Sometimes it was in a nearby city, sometimes it was a little further off, but we just go visit our aunt and uncle and have a good time. I have one particular aunt and uncle. They didn't live too far away, so we visited them often. And they were some of my favorite people in the world. It was my dad's sister and her husband. And they were quite interesting characters in and of themselves, and I won't go into that too much. But this particular uncle was a very colorful character, and he was very outspoken and loved everybody. And if he saw you, it was the most exciting thing that ever happened to him right then and there in that time frame. And he loved his animals, and he talked to them like they were people, like they were just part of his family. And he was just a very friendly, kind, energetic man. Whom I just loved and adored and go visiting. Not because he would sometimes slip me a dollar here and there. That was a good thing too when you're young and you like money. But you don't want to take it, you don't want to kind of be rude. But then my dad told me one day, he's like, it's a blessing for him to give that to you. So just take it and be grateful. So, of course, that's what I wanted to hear. So I would gladly do that. But this uncle was one of the few people that loved peanut butter more than me. I'll tell you, this man ate peanut butter on just about everything. And I love peanut butter, and he loved peanut butter, and we would just enjoy it together. And he would get this, back then, you would get this commodity peanut butter in this big containers you would get for free where they handed them out somewhere, in the county. And they would get this big jugs and whatever they were of peanut butter. And that was, even though it was commodity peanut butter, it was kind of a, bad thing in some people's eyes. I loved that peanut butter, and so did he. And his favorite thing would to take a bowl of Rice Krispies, and he would put vanilla ice cream, peanut butter, and bananas, and just mash it all up together, and that stuff was good. I would have never thought of that combination. I mean, to this day, I have my own unique combinations with peanut butter that maybe I'll share with you one day. Some people might not think it's very appetizing, but you never know until you try it, right? But he would eat this peanut butter and this concoction, and I would eat it with him. He'd make one for me, and we would enjoy it together. But they lived out, in the countryside, as we do, a lot of us in the South. And it was pretty neat, out behind their house. They also had, when I was little, they still had a working outhouse. I'm glad for that. I'm glad I never had to use that because they had a regular toilet as well. But they did have a working outhouse that they still used on occasion. And that was the oddest thing to me. You hear about outhouses and you see people on movies and things like, see them with a little crescent moon on the door. And they had the whole shebang, and they still had a working outhouse out there, kind of like off the main house in the woods. And I would be fascinating every time I'd go there. I'd just like, what's going on in the outhouse? They would use the newspaper out there, and it was just the weirdest thing for me. But digress a little bit, of course, as I want to do. But we would go to there and visit, and it had a lot of interesting animals and a lot of great conversation and a lot of good peanut butter time. And one particular incident, when I was a little bit older, we're still going and visiting my nephew. One of my nephews came with me, one of my sister's kids. And he's a little, younger than me. But we always were close enough in age, him and his brother, that we would have fun together and go and do things together. And he and I decided, and he was just going to follow, that we were bored, so we were going to go walking in the woods. And so we went walking in the woods. I had done that many times before in those woods behind that house. There was not a lot of neighbors around there, but a lot of woods, some really pretty woods. So we started walking in the woods. And, I'm the leader. Of course, I'm the oldest. I know what I'm doing. Come follow me. But we were walking in the woods and we were talking, having a good time. We were seeing a lot of interesting things like you do sometimes when you just go walking in the woods. And that's a great thing, by the way, for you to do with your family if you have a chance. Take your kids out, your wife and kids, and just go walking in the woods. I do it all the time with my kids and they love it. Um, we went walking in the woods, having a good time together. And and after a while, we come across this um, trash, just not garbage, but like it's kind of an interesting. In the South, sometimes you'll come upon a car out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, these are pine trees, and there's no obvious road, no obvious markings of anything other than just somebody abandoned a vehicle out in the middle of the woods, and there it is, rusting. Been there probably several decades, because judging by the frame and how it looks, it's not new, and it's been rusting there for a long time. It's kind of weird, when you find something like that. So we found something like that in the middle of the woods, and we didn't find a car, but it was a lot of just stuff like that, parts of machineries and stuff. I can only imagine like tractor parts and various different paraphernalia like that. And one thing in particular was a rusty body of a lawnmower. Now, this lawnmower was a push mower. It was an older version of a push mower, but it was there, and it was just sitting there by itself. Weeds growing around it, and rusting. The engine was there, and it had all four wheels, and it looked like it wouldn't work, and it didn't. We kind of played with it, and it didn't work, and I was just like trying to imagine how a lawnmower would wind out in the middle of the woods like this. But, you can kind of mess around with all the trash, like kids do, and beating things with sticks and having a good time and pushing the lawnmower around, which hadn't been moved probably in 10, 20 years that had been left there. Overgrown and rusty, with the weather beaten look that you would imagine metal and looking like. But, we just mess around with the lawnmower, and then we decided we better head back. Now, we've been gone probably an hour or two. Not that long, probably an hour, a little bit more than that. And then I suddenly realized I'm not sure how to get back to where we came from. Now, these are not my home woods, man. I have been exploring these woods before. This is the first time I had been this deep in the woods. Certainly the first time I had seen all this stuff. And kind of got distracted and like, oh, I better not. Of course, I'm a macho guy. I'm not going to tell him that I'm lost in the woods. Or I might be lost in the woods at this point. I'm not sure. So we're lost, put it that way. We're lost in the woods. Sorry about that, nephew. And I'm not going to tell him it's all like, oh, we better go. This is the way home. We better go. It's getting late. They're going to be worried about us because we've been gone a while. And I didn't really tell Mom where I was going, so that's probably not a popular thing either when I get back. If they realize we've been gone at all, which they probably would. And Mom knows everything, right? So we were lost in the woods, and we were a little bit hungry because we didn't take any snacks with us. We hadn't eaten anything much that day. So my stomach growling, and I'm worried to death, Oh no, he's looking at me to get us out of these woods. So we start going off in one direction, and this looks like a good avenue. You look for the path of least resistance, right? You don't want to go through the sticker bushes. You don't want to go through the brambles and the things that'll rip your legs apart. Although sometimes a good walk through the sticker bushes is just what it calls for to wake you up on occasion, especially when you're lost in the woods. And anyway, you kind of like go this way and you go that way and you try to take that direction. And you kind of look, and all reasoning at that point's kind of lost. You're wondering like, where am I and how am I going to get us back safely? So you don't know which is north and which is south. You can't really tell at this point because you're not kind of able to stop, smell the roses, look for the moss on the side of the tree, which way the sun is setting or whatever. You're not really thinking like that. So you're like freaking out a little bit, but you don't want to show it. So yeah, let's go this way. We go that way. We walk for probably 30, 40 minutes. Realize we're not getting any better or where we're supposed to be. So I see something off in the distance. I say, okay, that looks interesting. That looks familiar. Maybe we're in the right direction. So I said, come follow me. I get my pace quickens a little, and I run up to what I see, and what is it? It's that beautiful lawnmower. The same push mower, the same pile of junk paraphernalia that we had played with before. And you're thinking to yourself, almost, okay, we're close to home. I'm heading in the right direction. But then you stop and say, well, am I? Because I was just here a little while ago, actually a long while ago in that sense, and I'm back here again with no real updated idea of how to get home or get back to where we need to be. Because we had walked in a circle. I had sent us around in a circle, and you don't realize it at the time. You know, four lefts is a circle. Like the old saying goes. And apparently it is. You don't realize you're walking left or right or whatever. But it's certainly possible. I'm here to tell you it's certainly possible to walk in a circle. And we did. And we were still lost. So at this point, I knew which direction we had taken off. So let's not go that way anymore. Let's go the other way. I know where we are now. I'm asserting out loud, while internally I'm thinking, I have no idea where we are. So we go off in this direction, and we walk for another 30, 40 minutes. And then by this time, add up the numbers here. It's probably about 3 hours since we left. And I know by this point I'm freaking out, and he's probably freaking out with concern on his face. And I know my family's probably wondering, where are they? Maybe they got a search party out for us at this point. I don't have a phone, okay? I don't. And if I did, I probably wouldn't have had a signal. But at this point, we're freaking out. I'm freaking out. He's freaking out. They're probably freaking out. We're lost. I can only just imagine the helicopters flying overhead soon, the dogs wolfing, and the flashlights flickering about in the woods as they're looking for us. I can imagine that. It's going to be interesting, right? Certainly one to talk about later with the grandkids, but we head off in this direction and we come upon a new development. A dirt road in the middle of the woods. You look left, it's dirt road. Look right, it's a dirt road. And it's a muddy dirt road because it had rained a couple days before. And that's, dirt roads have a nostalgic, romantic kind of quality to them, especially in country songs and the remembrances of our youth. But when they're muddy and you're lost, they're not very interesting. Because at this point, you have a choice. Again, you're going to go left or you're going to go right. And neither one of them looks like they're the right direction. So I choose left. For whatever reason. I'm sure I had a reason, but I choose left. We go left. I'm confident. I've got to try to be confident. We go left. We walk for half a mile. And we start seeing some houses. And I think, well, I at least can go in here and use the phone, right? Call for help. But I have no idea what their number is. And I'm not really thinking that I want to talk with people right now. Not my family or perfect strangers. So I said, let's keep going. So we keep going. And I finally, I'm much relieved. I'm happy. There's the highway because you can hear the cars more kind of like behind me here. You can hear the cars and okay, maybe it's the highway I recognize. So we run up to it. And we have to go this long way around to get to the highway, or we can make a cut through somebody's yard. So yeah, of course we'll make the cut through somebody's yard where the dogs are not real happy and they're barking and growling at us, but at this point I don't care. Let's go. Go across these people's yard. They thankfully didn't nobody came out and got onto us. Then we get to the highway and I recognize the highway. It's the highway my aunt lives on, about 4 miles from where she lives. So yes, we walk 4 miles. At least I know I'm where I am now. We walk the 4 miles to her house, and it's dark by this point. We walk in. kind of tired and hungry. I'm looking for some peanut butter and Rice Krispie, vanilla ice cream, and bananas. And that's what we all eat. He did too. Well, maybe he didn't. I know I did. We ate some food. We sat down. Everybody's sitting around the table. And I didn't say anything after I got the food and sat down. I didn't say anything. And I look over at my mom, and my mom was like, "Where y'all been?" And I'm like trying to tell her the story. And my dad comes in. I guess he had been in the bathroom. That's one of his favorite places to be, even at family's houses. And he just says, like my dad would be, like, "What? They weren't here? They've been gone? I didn't know." I hoped he was joking. Maybe he wasn't. That's okay too. But we made it back. But it is possible to walk in a circle. That's the moral of this story. If you're lost in the woods, be careful, because you can't walk in a circle, and you can get very lost very easily. But thank the Lord, we made it back, and I got some peanut butter, and we never walk in those woods again. And every time I drive by there, even now, I think about that. My aunt and uncle have since passed, and I missed them, and I miss all my family you don't get to see when you get older, right? But it is a good memory, and it's one me and my nephew joke about to this day. And we always say, we got lost, and we walked in a circle, but we found a cool lawnmower. I bet you that lawnmower's still there. Maybe one day I'll get out there and see if it's still there, and take a GPS locator with me, or a really good phone. Anyway, that's the story, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you all like, subscribe, and comment on this channel. And it's good to have a supporting YouTube community. Support your YouTube community and your friends and family on YouTube. And remember, it's not about you or me. It's about the life we lead, the memories we make, and the meaning we find along the way. So thanks. Have a great day, and see you next time.